Welcome to the Reckless Hope Show. Today is January the 7th. Thank you. Larry, my guest, Larry Lees, knew that before. My guest is the mayor of Pryor, but all-around businessman and just a gentleman extraordinaire, Larry Lees. How you doing, Larry?
Hey, I'm wonderful. Glad to be here.
Good. I'm glad you're here. We have recently become friends, like within the last year or so. I didn't know you before you were mayor, before your election, and then with Reckless, kind of cross paths but I had this one overwhelming question. But first, I'm going to let you I'm going to give an intro about you, and then you can kind of take it from there. But then I'm going to ask a really penetrating question. So, the mayor of Pryor, Oklahoma, Larry Lees, but you're also a pilot, you're also a businessman, you're an entrepreneur, you're not just the mayor. In fact, we'll go ahead and tell us a little about yourself, then I'll ask you the question. Go ahead.
Well, you open that door. I am a pilot. I'm an active pilot. I'm a horseman. I'm a musician.
Right.
I sit on.
You're a very accomplished musician too, and pilot. So I mean, it's not like you just.
I sit on 3 boards, and I'm a deacon in my church. And so I don't know anything else other than to be busy.
Yeah.
Other than to be busy and to stay active.
Okay, so you said this, and then I'm going to ask this question.
Now I'm also a family man.
Right.
But my wife passed away a year ago.
Right.
And so my son lives in Philadelphia. He's a police officer. I take as much time as I feel like I need to and go spend time with him. Yeah.
That's really what we do on this show is bring attention to people like yourself, because one of the things I've got to ask you starting this thing off is you were very successful in business before the mayor, before you chose to go down that road, right? Now, you know a little bit about this, but I've been involved in politics now through Reckless, and it drives me absolutely insane. Like, I'm telling you, nothing moves fast enough. It's always your fault, I feel like, in politics. Like, if you're an elected official, which don't get me wrong, I'm not taking up for elected officials. Like, Lord knows I have enough issues with them. But why in the world? I mean, so what motivated you to ultimately run for mayor and then because you've been slandered. People have come after you about it.
I
mean, you've and you didn't have to do that. I mean, you're very comfortable.
So I am comfortable in my own skin, for sure.
But you were comfortable in your own success. You didn't, you know what I mean? You didn't have to. There's no ego about you. Anyone that knows Larry Lees, it's not a prideful
So
move.
you said success a couple of times, and there are definitions of success.
Mm-hmm.
So how the world looks at success is if you're if you've made enough money to be comfortable. If you own your own house.
Right.
Those kind of things. That's kind of what the world kind of establishes as success.
Which is as a Christian, it's not the same.
And in God's economy, success is knowing Jesus Christ.
Right.
As far as being mayor, God spoke to me to be a mayor, to run for mayor, because I was encouraged by a 12-year-old girl that I was teaching. I'm a flutist.
Right. You're very accomplished flutist. So I looked you up.
So I'm at Pryor Junior High, and I've got a 7th grade student in there that's in a class. Well, a year before that, she's in 6th grade, and I had the privilege to start her in playing the flute. Well, now she's in 7th grade. Well, what I do is I connect with people. She knew that my wife was an Alzheimer's patient, and knew that I was a caregiver. So she asked me one day. She said. Now, she didn't say, "How's your wife?" She said, "Tell me about your wife." Well,
7th grade girl.
7th grade girl. She said, "Tell me about your wife." And so I did.
Right.
And the next day, she brought me a note and had scripture on it. And the scripture talked about the influence of the Lord, talked about His influence on us. And my thoughts went to this 7th grade girl is having influence on me right now. And
I think it happens a lot, though.
God broke my heart.
Yeah.
God broke my heart because I'd been praying about being mayor. And that's when the conviction came that wouldn't let me go. So I've always had this passion for aviation. When I was a kid, lived in Owasso, Oklahoma, and on the north end of Tulsa International Airport. So I'm playing in my backyard, and I'm hearing those planes. And back then in the 50s, okay, got these beautiful sounding radial engines, and you can hear them from a long ways away. And I look up there and I dream, I dream about that. When I learned how to read, got to school, I began to check out every book that I could check out that had some kind of aviation theme to it. Yeah. Well, I never really took an opportunity or pursued an opportunity because that got in the way of the music.
Right. There's other stuff going on.
Yeah, all kinds of other stuff going on. And so I got out of college and moved here and started working, and we were working in the family business and all that. And when Clint, our son, when he was about 6 or 7 years old, he began to ask questions about planes and airplanes and all that kind of stuff. And so, man, I was ready for him. You know, I started getting him the books and you know started
so your son has some interest.
I started taking him to air shows, you know, and stuff. And yeah, in the Army, he was in the Army. He flew Black Hawk helicopters.
Oh my gosh!
Well, I mentored him and others through Civil Air Patrol, which is civilian auxiliary.
I know all about
Force.
it. Yeah.
And so I commanded a squadron and mentored him and mentored other people through that organization. And all this time, man, I'm wanting to learn to fly. You know, I want to learn to fly, but I didn't want to. I was busy with the business. I was, you know. I knew that if you're going to learn to fly, you got to commit time to it. And
it's very time consuming.
You don't do it willy nilly.
No.
And you develop you learn the skill and you develop a skill.
Yeah.
And you continue to learn every time you fly. Every time you fly. When you sit in a chair, I sit in a chair at home. I'm flying my airplane and I'm thinking through the processes. It's the way my mind works. So anyway, in 2004. I told my wife, I said, and we had sold our pipe business, and I was doing all kinds of volunteer work. 2004, I said, I'd like to learn to fly. And Clint is about getting ready to be through, you know, with his stuff, and I can focus on that. She said, fire away, and so I did. I got on the fast track in 2004, learning to fly, and I was getting ready to do my private pilot's ticket exam and all that, and I said I was trying to figure out, put a business plan together about, am I going to own a plane?
Because the kind of guy you are, though, because you're just
am
driven
I going to own
that
a plane,
point. Right? Yeah.
or lease a plane?
I'm the exact same way.
You know,
yeah.
How am I going to do that? And finally, I had the good sense to ask Donna if she would fly with me, and she said, "Well, no, I won't fly with you." I mean, period, end of story. And I got to tell you, we'd done everything we had ever done together. I mean, in our company.
But she wouldn't even get on the plane.
There were 21 people in our company. She managed 3 of them. I managed the 8. She managed the 3 gals. I managed the 18 guys. But she was president, CEO, and CFO of the company, and we all worked for her. Okay. Well, we did everything.
It's pretty much like together. Reckless. Is what Vanessa did. Yeah.
We did everything together. And she said, "Well, no, I won't fly with you." Yeah, it did. It hurt my feelings. I said, "Well, here I am. I mean, you know how I'm wired. You know, expecting her to read my mind, I guess." But anyway, she didn't.
So that put the brakes on the
part of it. I flew
one
more time after that. I put it down. Flew one more
for
time.
15. You put it down for 15 years.
So in 2016, July, after having been a full-time caregiver for 7 years. She needed to go into a facility, so she went into a facility, and as difficult as that was, one of the ways that I coped. By the way, we cannot not cope. We'll find a way to cope.
Yeah, you either healthy cope or unhealthy cope. Sure, it's all bad.
And one of the ways,
make the best you can.
So one of the ways that I coped was just staying real busy, and so I picked up flying again. And started taking lessons and found an airplane to purchase, and so got back into it.
So when you came on board with you were elected in 2018.
So I was elected 2019. I took office 2019 in May.
May of 2019, you took office.
Right.
And so there were things that you had an agenda you wanted to do. I don't want to say get the city cleaned up. It does not, but I mean you had things that you wanted to accomplish. Now, as a very patient man, right? Because I would say that is what you are. If I could say one thing about Larry Lees, the time I've known him, he's a very patient guy. If you don't know anything about horses, you've got to be, right? That's one thing I admire about you, because I'm in this position I'm in. I'm at Reckless and other things, and I'm not patient a lot of times. and I'm young, and I'm always trying to make something happen, or I'm always trying to. And my wife is always telling me, be patient and do these other things. So in your job that you do now, let's talk about being mayor. In that job, what skills have you learned throughout your life that honestly have prepared you for what you have now? Because this is a mess in a lot of ways. It can be. I'm not saying it is, but I'm saying publicly held office in a small town like this, 15,000 people. What is Pryor now? 12,000?
No, Pryor. We'll know after the census if we get that report, but it's somewhere around 10,000.
Somewhere around 10,000 people.
I think it's probably somewhere a little over 10,000.
You know everyone. You've known a lot of people.
I know a lot of people. Yeah.
And then you get thrust into this position and you're not a politician. I mean, you're not.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a compliment. Believe me.
Thank you very much.
I told Senator Lang the same thing, so I was like, it's great. So I mean, what was that, an adjustment period for you, and what did you find that was kind of able to get you through that? Because it had to be rocky at times.
So I'm not sure how you're wired, but with me, there's not any fear. I mean,
I'm not smart enough to be afraid of anything.
I don't approach things with fear.
Right.
And in fact, that has not served me very well sometimes. But I don't approach things
a blessing
with
and
fear.
a curse.
But I knew going in that I had skills that had been developed over time that were appropriate for the job. So I've managed a large budget before.
Sure.
I've managed a large number of personnel before, and if there's anything that probably trumps anything else, in my opinion, you've got over a $10 million organization, and you've got 140 employees, and so
that's a lot of families. Yeah.
And so to take skill that I built over time to be able to do that job and to be able to manage that, I felt like that I had the skill to do that, and I still feel that way.
Yeah.
Now, a government budget is different than a business budget. But in many respects, it mirrors a church budget sometimes. Sometimes it mirrors,
which you've also done. I mean, you've done some accounting on that.
It mirrors a hospital budget, and I've seen the hospital budgets lots and lots of times, and so I felt like that I had skills, and so I jumped in. I started engaging the skills. Now, if there's a skill that I don't do very well, and I don't consider the political ramifications of what I do
right
first. I mean, that's not a first consideration.
Right.
Not hardly ever is it what I consider first.
Right. I don't think that's a bad thing.
So what I do is I try to listen to God our Father. Now, I'm sorry, you might say, Lees, you spiritualize things. Well, you know what? That's who I am.
Sure.
That's who I am. But I get up every morning and I sit in a chair with a lamp, and with the Bible, and normally with a cup of coffee, and I try to listen to what God our Father has to say to me through the Scripture. And Jordan, it is amazing the things that I'll think about when I'm sitting there every morning and I'm reading Scripture and I'm praying. It's amazing the things that I think about, and I believe that God brings things to my mind that He would like for me to do during that day.
Right.
Now I've got an agenda, that's for sure.
Right.
but I trust that time. I trust that time, and I feel like that He prepares me. He prepares me for the day. You know what we would like to have? We would like to have a crystal ball that made definition about what we're going to be doing an hour from now. Or 5 years from now. Now, I do believe in making a 5-year business plan.
Sure, but
so the two.
You can be a really good planner, and it doesn't make a whole lot of.
No,
yeah.
But that business plan is going to be a living document that's just going to change as it needs to change.
Sure.
But I try to listen to God. I also try to listen to others. I try to listen to what others have to say. I'm telling you, if you're going to be stoked up with ego and pride as a leader,
yeah,
it's not going to serve the citizens well. It's
right.
not going to serve any organization well. It might serve you well for a time,
right?
But it's not going to serve anybody well.
No, and it comes down.
Yeah, so that component of low ego, has to come into play. Yielding to others has to be a component of
Humility,
what you do.
yeah.
Yielding to others. So I may be mayor, and it is a strong mayor charter, and there are 8 council members, and I have responsibility to keep them in the loop. I have responsibility to keep them informed. I have responsibility to place them in a position where they can make informed decisions about how to govern the town. And I look at it truly like I'm yoked. I'm yoked with others, and it's just the truth.
Right.
And you know what? It's cool that I could be yoked with others who are like-minded and who are of faith, the way I am. Everyone's not going to be that way. I understand that.
Right.
I understand that.
That's challenging.
But to do the job, to do the job that I'm called to do, to engage in those stewardship principles we talked about earlier, is what I'm about doing. And I'll make some mistakes. You know, I have made some mistakes. I'd rather not tell you what those are right here.
You don't have to know.
You know, would you consider that Christ was reckless?
Oh, I think so. I think he was. We get in a lot of trouble for that name. We get a ton of trouble for that name, but
Oh, I think it's great.
right. It's. Thank you, Larry. Thank you. So, thank you for coming on the show, our little program. I never get enough time to talk with you. I can't wait till we go to lunch, or we should fly somewhere for lunch. Is what we should do.
Oh, that would be awesome. That would be awesome.
Do you have a spot you fly to for lunch?
Sometimes I do.
The Bahamas?
Yeah. The Bahamas. There's a real good Mexican restaurant on the Ponca City Airport. It's called Enrique's, and the
And you just
airport.
fly down there for lunch.
Yeah, it's about 46-minute flight. Yeah. Sometimes I fly over to Shangri-La for breakfast.
I'm gonna do. You gotta invite me. I'm gonna do this. I'm inviting myself on your plane. I know it sounds terrible, but like
No.
I would love to do that. I would love it for the. I want to be in the moment though. I love being in those moments, like the plane. You're off the ground.
Yeah.
Men are not meant to do that in one aspect, right? You know what I'm saying? I mean, like that's like it's never lost to me. Like even like cell phones. Like I'm one of those people. Someone said
So
this,
have you ever meditated about this? What's heaven actually going to be like? You know, he gives us glimpses. He gives us glimpses of what heaven's like. But we're going to be in a spiritual body. We're going to be in a spiritual body that has the capabilities of
experiencing God,
of experiencing God in all,
because we can't now.
in all of His glory.
Yeah.
You know, we don't now. We get little glimpses.
Well, in fact, I told Moses it would kill him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
What do you think it's going to be? Is it flying?
I don't know. I just can't imagine there not being flying involved in it. You know?
It's flying 35,000 feet above the earth, or what?
Hey, you know there is going to be at least one horse in heaven,
The white horse.
because Jesus is going to return on a white horse.
Yeah.
You know, there's going to be at least one. You know, we have to assume. Well, are there going to be? You know,
It would make a pretty good argument that there's going to be
heaven,
animals.
new earth. There's the lion's going to lay down with the lamb and and whatnot. I was talking to a horseman friend of mine who is a Christian, and I said his name's Larry, and I said, Larry, do you think horses are going to be in heaven? And he said they've got to be, because if they're not there, I'm not sure I want to go. I thought, well, that might be a little bit strange. I'm not sure. Lightning might just strike you. I want to stand.
I'm still hoping there are tattoos there, but I doubt it.
We're going to be known by the mark of Christ, whatever that is.
That's right. Maybe that's what it is. Who knows? But you know what? I can't wait to. I'll see you there. Hopefully, not because we won't be there, but because what is like Charles Spurgeon said about John Wesley, that they asked him if he would see John Wesley in heaven, and Charles Spurgeon said no. He said that only because he'll be so close to the throne and I'll be so far in the back I won't be able to. It's like that's kind of how I feel about you. But if I get to see you, I'm looking forward to it. Like so.
Brothers forever.
Well, thank you very much, Mr.
Yep.
Mayor. Like, I mean it. Guys, if you don't know who Mr. Larry Lee is, I'm sorry. It's your fault that you don't know him. But he does run the City of Pride. He's a very busy guy. But if you ever get the chance, you see him around town, shake his hand. He's doing a phenomenal job. And, guys, for whatever reason, he's doing it like conviction. Because it's not for the money. It's not for the status. It's not for the fame of being the mayor of Pryor. In fact, I can't imagine the headache that he has. So say a prayer for your mayor. And we look forward to talking to you again real soon, brother.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. Amen.